I think this is a question from a baby bird somewhere. It says, how do birds learn how to fly? Please. I'm just being silly, by the way. Auditioning for cartoon voices, you know, might as well try. But it's an interesting question, as they all are, but basically the routine for, I'd say the majority of birds, and especially the ones that nest in trees and bushes and things like that, you know, they get to the point where they're flapping around and their wings are being stretched and exercising. When we first did Spring Watch, a very good example, and before that a series called Bird in the Nest, we had put the cameras in nest boxes, which you can buy anywhere now, but in those days that was the first time we'd seen what was going on, and you could see as the youngsters got bigger and bigger, they got more and more crowded in the nest and made it even more difficult by trying to flex their wings. So you'd see the baby blue tit going like that, you know, and then the next day he'd maybe get to the edge of the hole and go like that, but chicken out and or blue tit out and come back in, and then finally eventually you know, right, I'm going now. And what we discovered actually then was that, let's say there were 6 or 7 babies in a nest, and there often could be, they wouldn't all go out at the same time. They go one by one and leave a sort of little gap. It's almost like one leads the way and then sits in a bush and says, "Oi, come on, join me," and eventually they all do. But the birds that I actually find most extraordinary that they ever learn to fly at all are the ones that nest on the ground or on cliffs. There's another one that's like puffins and guillemots and things who nest up on the cliffs, and they really have to take their life in their hands. And the first time they fly, you know, a puffin up on a cliff, it can't fly off when it's a baby and then sort of think, oh, it's quite good, I'll come back now and have a rest and bring me another Sunday, or I'll have another go later, okay? You can't do that. They have to wait until something within them says, you are ready to fly. And they literally jump off the cliff. Baby puffins do that at night. They actually jump off the cliff. It can be very, very high, splat, hits the water. The parents will probably never see them again. And some of them will be taken by gulls and things like that. But others will learn how to fly. They'll float around, try little flights on the water, and eventually they'll get those wings going. It's and obviously there are other birds. It's quite traditional. It's what you'd expect, I think, because the parents will give them an example. Although a variation on that, I must just mention it. Variation on this on the heath, Hampstead Heath ponds at the moment. We've got our pair of swans who do very well and get quite a lot. They had 10 eggs this year. But only 5 surviving at the moment, which is as it usually is. But a little bit later on in the year, in the autumn, when the swans have fully grown, they haven't all gone white yet, they've got a bit of brown on, but they can already fly. But the parents feel that they ought to fly a bit further than they are doing, because the youngsters will fly up one end and get chased back again, and eventually the parents, if necessary, will peck them on the bums and say, go, you know, you're big enough to leave home, so go. And it takes them ages, but once they're going, you know, they probably won't go back to the parents. They won't go and live at home again. But having said that, they're not that good sometimes. We saw one the other year fly straight into a fence, a swimming pool, and they had the fence. He was all right, but this young swan said, "All right, I'm going," and going, ah, boom. You have to laugh. You have to laugh because they're tough blighters. He was all right, you know. But they can be quite clumsy. It's one of the miracles of life.